Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
Until they kept the score. I'm not trying to take you up to heavens and redeem my wicked soul. You just tell me what you want. The moon is not an ounce of gold. I'm gonna dedicate to you the greatest story ever told. It ain't set for a sign. It gets harder for the fighting. Can't you hear it now? Can't be caught, can't be sold. No, it's the greatest story ever told. Tragedy in the morning.
So Pablo, welcome. This is nice to have you back. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Cool. Well, the last time we spoke, Pablo, was back in October, and you were over in the UK for your UK tour.
Yeah.
That was your first ever run of UK days. You were out here with Jared James Nichols. It feels like a while ago, but how do you kind of reflect back on that?
It was a lot of fun. Well, it was very it was a lot of fun to get to know the UK because we've only played in London before that 3 times. And of course London is not the same as the rest of the UK. So I was surprised by a couple of things. I think the British were very sweet. Like right on the first show we did, there were, I think, 2 couples, one of which traveled behind us on that tour. So they showed up at every show we did from the first show on because
Wow.
they became so enamored with our live show. And another couple kind of did the same thing, but only for like 3 or 4 shows maybe because they had to work. So that was really cool and I don't know, surprising.
Yeah.
And
What's surprising that people want to come and watch your band?
no, I thought people in the UK, there's so much great music that came out of the UK. Their standard is very high, so I didn't expect people to be so in love with our music.
Well, I think part of the reason for that, Pablo, is you're bringing back a real a classic sound, and you perform it so well, the three of you, that actually you have kind of taken the UK to your hearts, and they've taken you to their hearts, and I think they really love it. So
Yeah. Yeah, so that was absolutely great. And also and it was very fun to see. It's just like in the Netherlands, like it really depends on where you're playing, how warm the response is, like the initial response. So for example, the reaction to our show was very different in Wolverhampton as opposed to London, for example. But then after the show, you speak to people and uh, they appreciate it just as much. They just have a different way of showing it.
yeah, I think
Uh,
you'll find that the around London, people just tend to sit with their arms folded and watch. But
no, I
actually,
had the opposite.
oh
In
really?
London, everybody was like partying, and right from the first note, we were because the first show we did was in Nottingham, and we were doing the support slot, of course. And we only had 45 minutes, I think, maybe an hour. No, I think 45 minutes. And the last song we played was a 20-minute song called Rosita. You know it. And it didn't go down that well. Like people didn't know us, of course, and so it was maybe kind of an odd choice to play a 20-minute song that takes up half of our set. On the first show, and then we tried it again on the second show, and it also didn't go down that well. It was a little awkward, and then also like midway in the song, I slipped and fell. And then for the third show, which was going to be in London, we said to each other, "Let's not do Rosita tonight because we're the support act, and maybe we gotta, show the people some more different songs instead of this one giant piece." And then halfway during the show in London, we were looking at each other, and people were so enthusiastic. We were looking at each other and going like, let's play Rosita anyway. And then we played it anyway, and it was great. And but then for the next show we didn't play it anymore. We just chose to play like a more a set list showcasing more different
Well, of course, that song for you is an iconic song in that you broke the world record, didn't you, for being able to go from studio to vinyl and your first sale of the record. So that's you got to play it.
Yeah, it is kind of, it's a very special song. And on this tour we just finished our Dutch tour, which was like 20 shows all across the country. We close basically every show with that song because I don't know, it's a very special song, and it does something to people.
Yeah.
But it's also like if you hear it for the first time maybe, and you hear it for the first time live without ever having heard the album version, it might be a bit much.
Yeah. Well, I can think. I'm pleased to hear you say that you enjoyed your time in the UK and you got to see so many different cities for the first time. Hopefully, somebody took you out for a pint in Nottingham. Some of the oldest pubs in the UK are in Nottingham, including the Old Jerusalem, which is built into a cave. If you didn't do that, you should do it when you come back over.
Oh, I didn't go out in Nottingham. I think I was ill or something. I'm not sure. I don't remember correctly because I love going out for a drink.
Well,
As you know.
we'll come on to that. We'll come on to that. But I mean, obviously, you visited some great places, and say Nottingham is some of the oldest pubs in the UK, and Bristol will have reminded you, hopefully, of home with all the canals. Um, but last year was a bit of a sort of a pinnacle moment for Dewolff, wasn't it? Because you came over in I think March and played the 100 Club for the first time, a really iconic venue, and then you came over with Jared and did those 8 dates. And then you were back at the end of the year for Planet Rockstock. So, you've really kind of embraced the UK in a big way last year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because right when we signed with Mascot, the label that we're on, or not right when we signed with them, but right when our first album on that label came out, which was Thrust in 2016, I think, or 2017. We got a lot of great UK reviews, and it was the first time ever that we were like promoted in the UK. And ever since that time, we've kind of been waiting for the right opportunity to come over and do these shows. But it's really hard to take that first step. So it was really great to get to go with Jared James Nichols on that tour, because I really think it opened some doors for us. And I mean, and we did the 100 Club, but I'm not sure. Like, I have the feeling that half of the people that were there were Dutch or already knew us. But I really think that the Jared James Nichols tour put us on the map in the UK a little bit. Like, people got in touch with our music for the very first time all across the country.
Well, another thing I think that really stood out last year, I mean, your last album, Love, Death, and In Between, has also been a catalyst for that success. And Night Train in particular is a song that's been resonating really well with fans, hasn't it?
Yeah. I also think that this is the exact right time for us to come to the UK, because I don't know, we released the album Love, Death, and In Between, and like you said, like Night Train, but also some other songs. I think on this album we were really finally like able to embrace all the things that make Dewolff great, and that come really natural to us, like after 16 years of playing. And so there's no barrier between what we want to put out and what we put out, and how it resonates with people, I think.
Yeah. So you're going to be back over here in about 4 weeks' time, and you're going to be playing some of the places that you did or some of the towns you did with Jared, but you're also coming to some new parts of the UK, and you've chosen some quite interesting parts of the UK. You're going to be in Oxford and Newcastle and Edinburgh, 3 of the most beautiful cities in the UK. Certainly Edinburgh, I think, is incredible. You'll absolutely love it there. You're also going to be down in Hastings.
Looking forward to that.
Well, and make sure you visit the castle.
There's a lot of people from the Netherlands. Like, I mean, a lot of people are close to me. Like my wife's niece and her aunt and my wife and her sister and some other people like that I met at shows in the Netherlands are coming over to Edinburgh because apparently it is a very special town. I've never been there. Yeah, so that's a special one.
It's got one of the most beautiful castles in the world. So yeah,
Okay.
make sure you get there early enough to do some sightseeing. Hopefully you'll get a chance.
Yeah,
Um,
I hope so too.
how are the shows selling at the moment? And which of those venues are you most looking forward to getting to?
The ones, yeah, I'm most looking forward to Edinburgh because my wife has been to Edinburgh. She said it was like a real life Harry Potter set.
Exactly.
Yeah, London is always great. I mean, I think so. Of the shows that we've played in the UK, I think like 25% of those were in London. So we kind of build an audience there, and people are really into it, like right from the first note. So that's always great. And also, I think at one of the, I forgot which one it was. I think around the Bristol or Nottingham shows we're gonna visit this guy that has an amazing collection of vintage instruments.
Oh
It's
wow.
called it's called the Music Locker. And I'm not sure what this guy's name is. He's a young dude. I think he's even younger than I am. And he sells like um the Ronnie Lane mobile studio. So the faces, I think it was their keyboard player, Ronnie Lane. He had a mobile studio, and this whole thing is at his um, place at the Music Locker, and he's selling like pieces of gear, and he's got like Stevie Winwood's Hammond organ for sale and stuff like that.
Oh
And we're
wow.
gonna pay a visit and look at it, maybe.
I'm slightly worried that you're going to go back with a load of vintage equipment in the back of your van.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Well, I was pleased that I mean, we talked about this the last time we spoke, but you're finishing up the tour at the Amira in London, which is
Yeah.
a fantastic building, really, really beautiful venue, and only recently been putting on live shows. So hopefully you'll get a really
Really?
good response to that. So
Okay.
and I was there to see Els Bailey, who I don't know if you know, but she's been
No.
doing very, very well in the UK, especially around the Americana kind of genre, and she played in there, and it was phenomenal night.
Okay.
So one of the other things I noticed about your UK tour, Pablo, so it starts on the 13th of March and finishes on the 23rd of March, but you've only given yourself one day off.
Yeah.
Um,
No rest for the wicked.
yeah, and I wondered if that was deliberate because I don't know if you've clocked this, but the day before your day off, you're playing in Manchester, and
Yeah.
that is St. Patrick's Day. So it will be
But no
compulsory.
way. Really?
So it's compulsory for a pint of Guinness. Well, I shall buy you a pint of Guinness. Don't you worry.
I'll tell you something crazy. Before 2 months ago, I have never had a Guinness in my life.
Okay.
So I was meeting with this band that I was gonna record in my studio, and they were coming to Maastricht, which is the town near where I live, and they picked a random Irish pub to meet up in, and I arrived there, and they had Guinness, and they offered me a Guinness, and I was like, this is crazy, but I've never had a Guinness in my life. So I had my first Guinness like 2 months ago,
What did you
and it
think? What did you think?
wasn't in the UK. It was great, and it was very different from what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be very bitter for some reason, very bitter, like a maybe even a little like hint of licorice, maybe because it's so dark. But it was like
It's an acquired taste, isn't
it
it?
was
I
very
think
soft
and it tastes more. It tastes better the more you have.
oh yeah, I really liked it. So it wasn't the last time, but I forgot in the last 2 months. I forgot to drink it, so I'm
Well,
gonna do that
we'll make
again.
sure we sort you out on the 17th anyway. So
Yeah.
well, let me
So you
just
asked me before how many how is
yeah.
the
How are the shows?
sales?
How are the shows selling anyway?
It is like so. Robin was looking at it very positively. He said we almost sold half the amount of the tickets that are available on the whole tour, but but the sale numbers are very different. Like, for example, London's going pretty good, but there was one show where we until now have only sold 20 tickets. And I'm not sure which one it was. I'm expecting one of the towns that we haven't been to yet. So Oxford, Hastings, or Aberdeen.
Well, I think those towns have all got very good musical communities. So
Okay.
hopefully that you'll see a pickup at the last minute.
I hope so. On the other hand, the 20 people that are going to come, there's always something very special about playing in front of a really, really tiny crowd.
Yeah.
Like we tried some uh of our best songs, like new best songs out in front of like 20 people.
That'll
In
be the
Hamburg.
night when your set list goes completely off the wall, presumably.
Probably. We did that recently. We had a show in Belgium and we arrived and to be honest, it was like 10 times smaller than I hoped expected the place to be. And then we were like, oh, let's just play a weird set list tonight. And we played the weird set list and it was absolutely great. I had so much fun.
Awesome.
So yeah, I don't know. Even if there's 20 people, it's gonna be great.
Well, speaking of weird and wacky song choices, Pablo, I feel it would be remiss of me not to mention that you've put out a Christmas single. And
Yeah.
I noticed that this is not your only Christmas single, by the way. I found a few others of yours on YouTube. Uh,
Really?
yeah. Have you written
Oh,
so much music that you've forgotten?
I guess so. I'm really not sure which ones you mean.
Oh, I'll dig them out. Do you know, now that you say that, I know I've forgotten the name, but I will. But I definitely found some Christmas music from a few years ago that you've written.
Oh. And also the single you just held up, it contains two Christmas singles.
It
Oh no,
does.
sorry, no,
Double Cream.
this is Double Cream, but we also recently released the like a 7-inch with two Christmas singles, one on each side
All
with
right.
Double
Okay.
Cream.
Okay. Something else I've not got. You're gonna bankrupt me. I can assure you, because
I think I have it. I have it here. Wait, I'll show you. Yeah, it's here. This is it. It's called Christmas on the Moon.
do you know what? I do actually have that.
Really? That's great.
I've got it.
So
I've
you
become
have
secretly
too much
obsessed with.
vinyl, my friend. You don't even remember which ones you do and which ones you don't.
I know, it's crazy. But you've been doing quite a lot. So I
I
mean,
have
just
slightly the same problem.
oh my God, presumably that's just the different versions of your last album on the wall there.
Yeah. True.
Since we last spoke, Pablo, obviously, so you put out a couple of those singles. You've also put out or if I should say, your wife has put out the book for you, well, the
Yeah.
photo book, which I've also got. I mean, nothing if not.
Wow, that's awesome, dude.
Um,
Thanks.
and but so yeah, I mean, you're always one of the things I love about Dewolff is that you're constantly creating and looking for new interesting things to put out to keep people like me, excited about the band. But I'm guessing you've already started thinking about other music. It's been a little while since you put your last album out, probably about 14 months or something. So you probably drew another one.
Yeah. Yeah, we're currently in the process of writing a new record. We every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in the past week and the next weeks we'll be having writing sessions, and we had 6 days now and we wrote 9 new songs. So
Oh,
things
awesome.
are going pretty well.
Can you say anything about those songs? What they're going to sound like, or the sort of style? Because you tend to change every time. It feels slightly different.
Uh-huh. Let me think. These new songs, they're gonna be recorded in a very special place. We already booked the place, and we're gonna go there in May. Um, and we that's in our mind all of the time while we're creating the song. So there's a slight hint of Southern soul on it, but also Uh, there's a little bit. It's a little jazzy
A little
at
jazzy.
times.
Okay.
If out of the 9 songs, I think we only one of them is a real rock song. The other ones are like really electrifying. Do you know the band Redbone?
Redbone.
Yeah,
No, I don't. I should look these up. What do they sound like?
it's they they are a universe of their own. They are a band from Los Angeles, from well, I think their first record came out in 69 or 70. And they're 4 Native Americans, and they make their own unique style of funk. But it's also rock. And it's weird. I guess you just have to check it out. Check out their second album. It's called Potlatch.
Okay.
And
I,
we're very inspired by them. We have been inspired by them for many years now. We discovered them like 10 years ago, but um that inspiration is definitely surfacing in
I
a
love
new.
your ability to find these obscure bands from around the world and these obscure influences. It's yeah, you must be you must be a magician for your searching ability.
Well, I must say I haven't discovered a lot of new music in the past ever since we recorded Love, Death, and In Between. So I was kind of scared of that because we were making plans of when to release our new album, so also when to record it, and then we had this place in mind where we wanted to record it. But then we showed up at our own little studio 2 weeks ago with nothing, and I was a little scared, like, is it gonna work again? But apparently it is working again. Even though I haven't really discovered any new music since the last album, but there's just something that happens every time we get together with the idea of writing new material. There's this inspiration from within or something. It's weird.
Wow, I'd love to hear it when it's ready. I'd love to hear it, and we'll hopefully we'll see some of it live. So look,
Yeah,
Pablo, before we finish up, just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to talk to My Global Mind again. Best
of
of luck with
course.
your tour.
Pleasure talking to you
Um,
always.
what is your message to people who haven't yet bought their ticket for the shows?
Oh, I think it's very important to book those tickets now because that the show might just be a show you will never forget for the rest of your life.
That's absolutely
Might
brilliant.
just be. It might just be.
Awesome.
Heavy metal rock.
Global mind.